What's up everyone, it's been 6 months almost to the date of me owning the iPhone 14 Pro. I've made a review video when I first got the phone, and now let's go into the 6-month review of this phone. I don't really have any big complaints. Everything works perfectly. The reason that I got it for, it's been working absolutely amazing for those exact reasons, which has been mostly around content creation, but there's still been some things that I wished it changed or it was a little bit better. So let's start with those first. One of the things that I've noticed with this iPhone, or with iPhones in general, is the nighttime photography. It really hasn't been anything amazing. In fact, it's been a bit of a letdown. Coming from previous phones like the Pixel 5 and Pixel 3 and other Samsung phones where the nighttime photography has been top notch. This iPhone, or kind of like the iPhones, when it comes to nighttime photography, has not been anywhere near the top. It's quite slow, it's quite noisy, which is annoying, and you cannot really do much to improve the nighttime photography, which again is something that I have missed, because in the past when I've owned Pixel phones, I used to take nighttime photographies all the time because of the computational photography that they use for nighttime photography was just top of the line. But now I tend not to take any pictures at night unless I have my Pixel 6a with me. Next, we have the battery. The battery has not been terrible, but from what I've seen and for what I've heard, it hasn't been the absolute best as well. Apparently the iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max had amazing battery life. And I'm not saying that the 14 Pro doesn't have a great battery life, because it does. I get about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, and I'm getting about 8 to 10 hours a day at about 80% of brightness. Although one thing that I have noticed is the battery seems to take a hit around software updates of like weeks. So I'm not saying kind of like on the specific day that I get software updates, but for about a week or 2 weeks of the software update being done, my iPhone does take a hit when it comes to battery life. It's not as efficient and it doesn't last as long. Again, I never run out of battery, I always have my charger, but it's something that I've noticed that sometimes I go from 40% to 30% really quick for no reason whatsoever. So I don't know if that's something to do with the software updates that are a bit more power hungry, or the iPhone not being as efficient. And one other thing I really don't like about this phone, and I didn't find out until maybe 2-3 days ago, is the auto brightness, especially around Instagram. Is when you are watching reels on Instagram, some people will upload HDR videos, which means that when you're watching it on your phone, if you have the brightness all the way down, then you're scrolling through it, especially late at night in your bed, is when you get to a HDR video, the brightness goes up through the roof automatically, and that gets annoying. I never understood what it was. I didn't really know what it was as well until I watched some videos of other reviews about their complaints around that, and it's something annoying. But you can actually turn it off, and I have as of today, and this is how you can turn it off. Open settings, go to accessibility, and in accessibility tap display and text size and toggle off auto brightness. I wish this feature of automatic brightness wasn't toggled on automatically, and I wish it was something that if you wanted it, go in and toggle it on yourself instead of having it already toggled on, so you don't have to turn it off. I said toggled far too much. But that really is all about the little annoyance that I have about this iPhone and all the little complaints that I have about this iPhone. And yes, I do wish I had USB-C for faster transfer of data and files to my laptop, for faster charging as well. So that is something that hopefully comes for the iPhone 15, as it's been rumored about the USB-C. I did wish as well that the shortcut that I missed the most from Androids is on the power button. I wish if you press it twice, the camera will pop up, but now I just keep popping up my Apple Wallet for no reason. But now let's get into the things that I do love about this phone, and I'm really happy about it up to today, and I will probably still be happy about them until I fully upgrade this phone in the future. The camera on this phone was the main reason I got this phone for content creation, and it has absolutely not let me down. The pictures it takes are amazing. The videos it takes are amazing. As you can see, I'm mostly shot on cinematics mode for my A-roll, so more for my kind of talking heads, and it works amazingly well at 4K 30 frames per second. Although one thing that I do notice is around cinematic mode, it works really well when it's on the great lighting. So I usually don't use it when I'm outdoors. I usually just use the regular video mode when I'm outdoors shooting the tech, but just for the kind of like A-roll and for the kind of talking heads of my videos, I use cinematic mode and it works perfectly. The depth perception of the camera with the subject and the background works lovely, and again, under great lighting conditions. I'm not going to bore you with any of the specs. You can see all the specs on my review video of the iPhone 14 Pro. But again, the camera is amazing. The 50 megapixel on the main sensor is absolutely lovely. You have the ability to shoot RAW with a 50 megapixel, so then you can edit it to your own terms and you can edit it to your own style, and that gives you so much dynamic range as well. The 2x and 3x lens on the iPhone has become some of my favorite lenses, especially for taking pictures of my dog Ralph. As you can see in the next few pictures, this was taken with a 2x and a 3x on a beautiful spring morning out for a walk with Ralph. They're so sharp, it just kind of captures it really well, and it just kind of feels really good to use those 2x and 3x. I don't really care about having a 10x or a 100x. Maybe the 10x, I will actually like it, but I am more than happy to use the 3x and 2x. The cameras and the overall look that the iPhone produces is absolutely amazing, at least to my standards and to my own styles. I do like how they look straight out of the camera. The display is still one of the best displays out there in the market. It's beautiful, it's powerful, it's bright, it's punching in colors, and it just produces some lovely content as well when it comes to entertainment and gaming. The ProMotion makes the whole experience nice and smooth throughout any application, and it just feels great. So the display on this phone has not been an issue at all, and it gets plenty bright to use outside in the sun, and also gets plenty bright to watch in bed in the dark and feel like you're watching a movie on your screen, which feels absolutely beautiful. And last but not least, the dynamic island is still good. I still like it. I actually love it. And I do like the look of the dynamic island, but it has become a bit of a, how can I say it, a bit of a mimic, and it's something that I have not used as much as I first said I was going to use it. I use it a lot for maps and Spotify, but do kind of wish it was a little bit more useful. I don't know how that looks like or how it might look in the future to make the dynamic island more useful. At the moment, it does feel like sometimes it gets in the way, especially when watching content horizontally and you have to expand the content. Obviously, it is there. Again, I don't mind it. I actually like the look of it. Sometimes it just gets in the way, but I do wish in the future, and again, I don't know how that's going to look like, it will become a little bit more useful. So it'll be exciting to see if any of the brands implement their own style of a dynamic island and have better use for it. Or maybe we see it in the iPhone 15 Pro, or maybe even on the iPhone 15, just regular 15, a dynamic island, and see how they use it and how they progress this feature on the iPhones. And one thing that I actually thought I was going to miss, but actually don't miss at all because on this phone is so good, is Face ID. Face ID is incredibly fast. It's absolutely amazing for all my biometrics. And yes, I have not really missed the fingerprint reader because, again, I have a phone that has a fingerprint reader, but I don't miss it too much. It actually feels weird to kind of having to turn my phone on and then put my finger on the screen. This time I just literally just look at my phone and it opens up right away. It's kind of nice to have it. I know some people will love the fingerprint reader, but when the Face ID is this quick and this fast, I don't mind having it. And opposed to some other people and experiences of others, I haven't really suffered any software crashes, any bugs or anything like it. And the little ones that I've had have just been for a few seconds, maybe in a few minutes at the very longest, but they've been resolved within minutes as well. Again, nothing to be like, oh, this iPhone has become really buggy or really slow. I haven't had any of those issues like I've seen on Twitter and other YouTube videos that some people have had. And to finish off this video, the Apple ecosystem lives up to the hype that I've been hearing about for the last 7 years or 8 years. I don't know how long for, but it definitely does live up to the hype of connecting so well between all your Apple devices. Now I have AirPods Pro 2, I have my MacBook that I've had for a while, and it just works seamlessly and perfectly well together. Although AirDrop has been giving me some issues lately, but we're not going to be going into those. The Apple ecosystem and having all these Apple products has made me reconsider buying different Apple products. Like, maybe I should get an Apple Watch. Maybe I should get the HomePod Mini or the regular HomePod. And it's something that I don't want to be tied down into the Apple ecosystem, but maybe I'll just get them for experience sake. But I have heard that Samsung and obviously Google is becoming a better ecosystem, and Samsung has so many products now, and they've been improving their ecosystem so much over the last few years. So that is something that I would like to touch on and test on as well, because I haven't had an actual Samsung product in so long. I literally went from my Samsung S10, I believe. I don't know if that's the one that doesn't exist. And then from there, I went straight to Google, and I've stuck to Google for the longest time until I bought this phone. So that's something that I would like to test out all different ecosystems, hopefully in the future when money is more available to test those out as well. But really, is it worth upgrading to the iPhone 14 Pro? Well, that's going to depend on what. If your phone is older than 3 years old, then I would probably recommend you get the iPhone 14, 14 Pro, maybe a Pixel 7 or a Samsung S23. So if you have like a phone that is older than 3 years, so maybe like the iPhone 11 or before, or maybe you have like a Samsung, I can't remember all the names of the Samsung, maybe before the Samsung S20, or if you have a Pixel from before the Pixel 5, which is the one that I had before I upgraded to this, then yes, I would recommend you to upgrade to this year's phone, like the Samsung S23, like the Pixel 7 and the iPhone 14 and the whole lineup of those phones. But if your phone is younger than 3 years, or if you have an S21 or before, after, or if you have an iPhone 12 or after, you don't really need to upgrade. Yes, you will get better cameras, you might get a better display, but unless you're looking for the best and the greatest specs like the iPhone 14 Pro, like the Samsung S23 Ultra and the Pixel 7 Pro, if you're not looking for those top specs on the market right now, then you are absolutely fine with the current phone that you have. Phones are expensive, and you have to really think about them, and I do think they can last between 3 to 5 years if you really take care of them, if not more longer. But that is all from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the very next one. See ya, bye bye.